Hello everybody and welcome back to this new video. Today we're going to be talking about the monitor Windows box from CyberSecLabs. So let's jump into it and go to our Nmap scan. So we can see we have port 80 open, which is HTTP. Then we have RPC open on port 135. We then have SMB open at port 139 and 445. And then we have RDP open. So from all of these ports, let's first look at the port 80. And from going there, we can see that we have this PRTG network monitor. Now we have a login page here, and we can't really do anything, so maybe we can try default credentials. So if you Google for default credentials, you will find here that PRTG admin as username and password is the default. So let's try that, and we'll notice, okay, that has failed, so we can't really do that. Then you could do more scans on this website, see if you can find anything else. But for the video, let's move on to SMB. So we'll try SMB without credentials, see if something like that works. We can also try SMB with a username without credentials. So without any credentials doesn't work. We can try a random username without a password, so just pressing enter, and we'll see that does work. So now we can see if we can use this WebBackups share, which is by far the most interesting one here. Since we're going to assume we can't use the admin share or the C share. So from reading the share, we see we have a zip file here that we can get. Okay, we got that file. So now we can exit out of there and unzip this dev zip file. We see we get a lot of files here which are interesting, so let's look through them. We have admin.py, we have a database, we have settings.py and manage.py. Now what you're looking for here is maybe credentials to a database or a database itself, credentials that you might be able to reuse somewhere else, stuff like that. So let's look at this database first. So we're going to open this database in SQLite 3, database.SQLite 3. So now we have a shell in SQLite, and we can do .table to view all the tables, and we can start looking through them. So we'll select everything from, and let's start with this app main user table. We see we have a username Django here and a password. So let's see if these credentials work somewhere. For example here. So Django with that password, and we'll notice that doesn't work. But we can also try this default username PRTG admin with these credentials. And we'll notice, hey, that does work. So that's great. We have this going on. From here, we could try to find a way to get remote code execution. So we could do searchsploit for PRTG. We see, okay, we have this remote code execution for version 18.2.38. Our version is 18.1.38, but most of the times these exploits also work for versions a couple below it. So we can take a look at that. And when you take a look at that, you will maybe come across this GitHub for PRTG Network Monitor RCE, which is for the same CVE as this exploit. And we see here it says versions below 18.2. So that's great. It says to run it, we have to log in, get our cookie, then run it with the URL, and then with our cookie. It's going to then create a user pen test with password pen test. I don't really like having creating users and adding them to the administrators group, as then you have to clean up at the end, or people might find out. So I like to live off the land and use the users that are already there. So we'll see if we can modify the script to do that. But let's take a look at the script. So we'll copy all of it, and we'll do a sublime text of our script here. So we've copied it all in here. And what the command that it was running was probably net user to add it. And we see, okay, here we find the command, it's URL encoded. So it's gonna, let's go back there. So it's gonna do net user and add an account pen test with this password. So here is where we will put our command to get remote code execution. So for our command, we want to get a reverse shell. So for that, I'm going to go back to hack tricks and shells for Windows. We've already done rec server 32 and certutil, so let's use run DLL 32. We see we can do this in metasploit by using Windows SMB delivery. So we can go use that. Then we'll do show options. We can set our lhost to be ton 0. Set our, and that's everything we have to set, I think. So now if we run this, we'll see it asks us to execute this command. I don't know why it wants to go to that IP. I got this working earlier, and I doubt it was with that IP. So let's exit this, show options. Maybe if we set the IP manually, run now. Now we have to change the port, set L port to 4445, run it. Also doesn't want the port there. Oh, and now the issue is with this other part here. Oh, for the server host. Okay, and that's where we want to change the address from here to our address. So let's set server, was it server port host, server host to our IP address. Now if we run, okay, now we see it started the TCP handler, it started the service listener, and now we have to run this command on the target machine. Now we'll first have to URL encode this command to get it to work, so we can do that in CyberChef. If we go to URL encode, I want to encode all special characters. And now we have this that we can just paste into the script here and replace the net user add part. So we'll just paste that in, save this, and now we can try running this script. So we can do bash x, and we see we have to supply the URL, so -u, HTTP, then the IP, 21, and then -c with the cookie separated by equal signs. Okay, so let's see what cookies we have here. So if I do F12 and go to storage, we can see we have this cookie octopus, so we can copy this part and grab the value as well. Oh, I pasted, copy that, and paste it in here. So now we can run that and hope that that works. In the meanwhile, we can also take a look at the blog post about this RCE. This is from the finder of it, so we can take a look. So he says, okay, we can create a notification that says execute program, and then we can pick between a bat file and a PS1 file. Then he got the software locally and took a look at the files, and in the PS1 file he saw here text, and then we can supply an out file from one of our arguments. And then he said, okay, well, if I put a file and then a vertical bar, I could get remote code execution at the end there, and that's how he was, for example, able to add this user pen test. So that's pretty much all we're doing here. So let's take a look at if that worked. So adding new user pen test seems to have executed, and back here we see, okay, it got our file, it sent the stage file, and it opened two meterpreter sessions. So let's take a look at our sessions here. Okay, seems like we have two sessions. So let's go into the first one, so the -i for interactive, and then we select the session that we want to use. And then from there we can go into a shell by typing shell. Now if we type who am I, we can see that we are NT authority system. So that was this box. I hope you enjoyed it. I think this was a pretty decent box, trying to figure out how to get this exploit working. And we actually edited the exploit, took a look at how it worked in the background, and that's something that I really should suggest you always do. Don't just run an exploit, always take a look at how does this work, why does this work, how did this person find this, because that might be interesting for you in the future. So I hope you enjoyed this video. As always, if you have any questions, leave them down below in the comments, and I would like to see you back for the next one. Take care.